moving forward.
Aloha kako, I'm Kawika Hoke, and we're back for more Rabbit Holes. All right, let's get right into it this week. We got so much in store, so we're starting with the announcements. Small Town Big Art is seeking professional artists to bring their collection of pre-recorded stories by Maui community members to life through a work of public art. Application deadline August 15th. I'll put the link in the show notes. Check it out. Also, Maui, University of Hawaii Maui College will offer a free non-credit study and training program for residents who would like to become certified personal trainers beginning October 1st and ending on July 29th, 2023. Put those links right there in the show notes, too. Also, the mayor's office is transmitted a proposal to the Maui County Council to purchase the acreage and the structure that was the former Iao Valley Lodge in Iao Valley for $1.5 million from the Hawaii Nature Center. The property will be leased to the Kekula o Pi'ilani Hawaiian Language and Educational Program, which currently uses the site for Hawaiian Immersion Education. You can check them out. Link in the show notes as well. With how the news weeks have been going, it's kind of, it's hard. You get lost in the weeds sometimes. So some of this, we're just going to be checking on things that are regularly been going on in the community, some interesting new things that have happened in the past weeks, as which Chief Justice Mark E. Rechtenwald has appointed Annalisa M. Bernard to fill a judicial position in the District Court of the Second Circuit in Maui County. Her Maui Bar profile states she is a seasoned trial attorney with over 15 years of experience in the district, juvenile, family, and circuit courts, where she has handled all levels of criminal cases from traffic matters to complex felony-level offenses. Hope to see, positive outcome for her being appointed. We'd love to check in. That'd be an interesting little rabbit hole to go down as we try to get to know candidates. It's also good to know the people that they appoint. So maybe, just maybe, we'll try to get some time with Annalisa. Annalisa, if you're out there, if you're randomly listening, let's talk. Let's talk story. Let the people know what you're doing up there now. All right. So bigger question this week is, we're back to the homelessness discussion. We are back to the housing crisis as well. There are some silver linings coming out of all this, but at what point are we stressed to having to create silver linings to make it through said times? What I'm referring to in this is there's a bill to allow people to sleep in their vehicles in Maui County parking lots. It's advancing, which is really good, because if approved, the bill would allow people to use their vehicle as a dwelling place, and then, they'll have designated areas of county parking lots, and county staff will kind of monitor the lot, which also I'm sure would make it easier for, patrolling for police and keeping, those folks safe. The vehicles would have set times that they can enter and exit, and then you get locked in the lot. So it'd kind of be like a drive-in homeless shelter. That's the easiest, fastest way to say it, I guess. But this is a really good thing. But to see that we're at a point to where this Band-Aid needs to occur because we have yet to solve the housing crisis. And, and it's they're saying that the housing prices are cooling, but just under $1 million isn't cool enough for most folks out here. So, for what people are facing and how much the living wage is versus what the actual paying wage is kind of a rough thing right now. The amount of jobs that people have to carry, the level of cash they got to keep in pocket. It's just it's impossible right now. So we really have to be thinking about how we can work together as a community to mend these relationships inside the economy. How do we prevent, needing to let people sleep in their cars? How about how can we prevent houses costing more than $750,000? Or maybe there'd be something in case to bring up, competition in the market to actually increase wages and increase returns for small businesses. So, I mean, there's a lot at play here, but hopefully we could get some folks on who can answer those questions for us. So looking forward to that after primaries. In the world outside of Hawaii and on the continent, it turns out that Equifax sent out incorrect credit scores for millions of customers applying for home and auto loans. A coding error at the company affected customer scores by as much as 20 points in either direction. And that was enough for some people to have their loans rejected, which was not really cool. And I mean, I think a lot of people forget that, like, credit is still, like, a young program. I think in a lot of cases it was a good idea. It helps people jump ahead if, a solid system's in place, but not everybody, can financially take that gamble to be able to unload that much debt at a time in order to advance their life. A lot of people out there trying credit hacking, not exactly, successful for all. There are a lot of small steps you got to take to do it. I am, by the way, not selling any of that shit. It's kind of a tough market there, too. So I feel that you got to watch out when it comes to who you're getting advice from. I do not have any affiliates or suggestions on the matter myself. Go out and do the dirty work and find someone reputable for yourselves. And just don't take advice off of Facebook, guys. But also look, and understand the fact that, like, credit score systems haven't existed for more than, like, 2 generations now. A lot of that was, like, the last era of redlining. So, for many of us that are people of color, our parents, or in some cases their parents' parents, didn't have any possibility of getting an initial line of credit unless they were, like, in the service. So unless you took a couple bullets for Uncle Sam, they go, oh, okay, maybe, bro. We'll give you a little bit of credit, just not enough pay. So it's, especially in this economy, we have to be watching out on our credit right now for how up and down, boom, bust, boom, we have gotten. It's a tighter and tighter gap now. So for those of you that have been watching, like, the larger cycles of the American economy, I mean, it used to be, somewhere between 20 to 40 years our economy would last before it would have to, like, blow over like Pompeii and reset. But because of the current financial systems of the world, and the way that we cooperate with them as America, and all the states have divested their interests, it's a much tougher world to advance in when that cycle is now 2 to 4 years, and even less in some smaller or bigger economies. Because now, I mean, it's kind of like the model is now run rampant out to other cities, which with enough stress, pressure, and hope, those could turn into, like, mega metropolises out of it, and we could have, like, 20 more New Yorks that are born out of this. But at the same time, what era of New York? I mean, it could all be, like, 1920s, like, 100-hour week, like, now, what am I saying? People are already working 100 hours a week, like 240-hour week lifestyle, people living in a box for Amazon. So we have to be very mindful as working class people, as those in lesser income thresholds. Make that gamble on your credit, take care of it, but don't get lost into it to the point to where you're going to have to promise too much one day, and know your limits. But also, if you can use that to your advantage to take some stress off you needing to work, pay yourself by leveraging your debt. I don't know. You should check into that. But in better news, the Senate has passed a climate, health, and tax bill. The economic package designated to combat climate change, address health care costs, and raise taxes on large corporations. This package allows Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices, which, I mean, they're hoping to save hundreds of billions of dollars in the next decade. It's going to extend enhanced health insurance subsidies that were set to expire, and it'll impose a 15% minimum tax on most corporations that make more than $1 billion each year. But there was a big but at the end of it. Some GOP senators did manage to block a provision that would have capped the price of insulin at $35 a month for those covered under private health care plans. So the fight for insulin is still in there. That really sucks. I know that like a lot of people have been looking forward to what that could do for their personal economy. I mean, going back to like credit and housing, all of these things are interconnected, folks. So if, we're alleviating enough off people's plate with proper health insurance subsidies, we're taxing properly. Like, man, the cost to live if you need insulin shouldn't have to be like, it should be available to every working man, from the person who stamps the aluminum that makes the little bottle to the guy who fries the sand into glass that makes the vial that holds it. I mean, all those people are part of the system, So I think that it's something that it has to be affordable. This is one of those good cases of trying to step in on a governmental level to make sure that there's a cap on things. There are certain parts of the economy which, like, that's bad if that goes past this threshold. Let's just dial this in. A little regulation doesn't hurt, man, okay? A spoonful will do you every once in a while. So this really could have helped small parts of the economy, because think about, like, how many extra out-of-pocket dollars that people would have saved on insulin that would have translated to the pump for 2 more weeks, or could have put food on a table for another month, or could have taken someone out nice for dinner because they've been putting up with a lot of shit and the world's ending, So, like, those little things add up, and they add to the morale of America and Hawaii and everything that everyone's living through right now in this economy. So we have to be mindful of that. All right. So changing moods, because we can't end on a down note. We can't end on a down note in this segment. So in the cooler side, weird news around the world, a 17th century Spanish shipwreck was uncovered in the Bahamas. The Nuestra Senora de la Marvela, Our Lady of Wonders, a 2-deck Spanish galleon, sank on January 4th, 1656, off a little Bahama bank in the northern Bahamas on a trip to Seville from Cuba. So we're going to find out more about these lucky bastards. I'm sure it's going to turn into a Netflix documentary, but like, it's kind of cool to think that there's still lost treasure sitting around the world, I mean, think about all the things in the past century that we wouldn't consider treasures, but think about all the things like 4 centuries old that we just don't think about hunting for anymore. But I think we've also lost the opportunity for the age of the random explorer. You don't have kids going to Vietnam for summer anymore. You don't have kids just backpacking through Europe. Like, there's none of that weird, like, Uncharted level adventure stuff going on anymore. So maybe that's something that we got to work towards. Can we save the world enough so that way we can all go on cool shit like this every once in a while? I like to be able to have that in my budget and my time. I mean, wouldn't you want to go around the world and just, like, discover the undiscovered? And it doesn't even matter if you got to document it. I would like to just be able to, like, find treasure and then be like, well, damn, we found treasure. And then, like, you find the place where you got to deliver it to, make sure it gets back to wherever's. But if it turns out that's just dirty Spanish gold, take them, bro. That's what I do. All right, we'll be back with more after an awesome word from these cool affiliates.
Moving forward.
We live in a fast-paced world where many people are too busy to sit down and read books or news articles. But thanks to Newsly, you can now listen to the news you wish you had the time to read. By utilizing AI technology, a natural human voice reads you the news, helping you grasp the information faster and more efficiently. Newsly provides the latest news updates 24/7, letting you browse articles from topics you choose. It even has podcasts, including ours. And listeners of Rabbit Holes can get their first 30 days of premium for free. allowing you to enjoy an ad-free experience by using the special promo code in our episode description. So download Newsly today for free on iOS and Android, or visit www.newsly.me so you can stay updated on the things that matter to you.
Moving forward.
Hi out there in TV land. I'm here to talk about the funniest show you'll ever see, The Beverly Hillbillies. And also, White Hawaiian, a one-man musical starring my son, Eric Gilliam. If Jed Clampett were on Maui, he'd take Granny to go see White Hawaiian August 12th, 13th, and 14th at the Pro Arts Theater next to Nalu's in Kihei. You may not have heard of Eric, but you know his famous sister, my daughter, Amy Hanaiali'i. Man, is she special. But she has nothing to do with this show, so get that out of your head right now. Maui News says if there was a Hoku Award for musical theater, White Hawaiian would win it hands down. See, Eric's gonna try his best to make you laugh. And while there's no promise of that, I guarantee you'll cry when you find out there's no refunds. Ask anybody who's been to the show and they'll tell you. Go see White Hawaiian on August 12th, 13th, or 14th. White Hawaiian is presented by the Kauai Radio Group, Nalu's, Ekolu's, and Frida's Restaurant. Tickets on sale at whitehawaiian.com. Believe me, they're selling fast to musical theater lovers just like you.
Moving forward.
More. It's a little pop culture coverage. A lot going on in Hollywood lately. Firstly, James Franco as Castro. Like, does that like? I mean, I guess maybe in the sense of like a stupid level of comedy. I don't know. I mean, is this going to be something taken seriously? We'll have to look more into this. But like, I know it pissed off John Leguizamo to a degree. He took to Instagram to have to talk about it. Vented his frustrations, and then oddly enough, Castro's daughter was like, "Oh, I think it's cool," but like, I think this is one of those cases of like, you know, yes, it's appropriation, and it's not good. Like, this is a Mel Gibson level shit right now, but then I guess at the same time, like, the American Hollywood machine is still to a degree that it's like, okay, this is because, you know, it's James Franco. Like, we'll just err on the side of he can blur into that range. I mean, but this is so like Hays Code level shit, and it's kind of a shame that this still happens. I mean, I'm not the biggest Franco fan on the planet. Not like it's kind of who he has to be paired with. Like, it's who's going to carry Franco through the rest of the movie that makes it interesting. Okay. Maybe that's why Tobey Maguire was a dick on set on Spider-Man. You know, he was Breaking Bad with Franco. No, but I'm not going to speculate on that. I don't know about that. But no, really, like James Franco as Fidel Castro. I mean, just because he grew some unsightly pubic hair on his face recently, I don't think that qualifies him. I don't think he has a gravitas to play the dictator, but I think it's also kind of been a shame that, like, I mean, yeah, historically, guy was a douche canoe, but like still, like, in honor and representation of history, like, you gotta give the devil their due. So like, realistically, like, Castro's never been played by anybody important when you think about like the Latin community at large. So like, I mean, offhand, I think of Peter Falk playing him in an episode of Twilight Zone. I mean, that's the crazy thing. Is like, that's the, like, when I think of the last person who played Fidel Castro, I think of like an ancient CBS episode of Twilight Zone. So like, that's it kind of tells you where the state of Hollywood still is when it comes to representation. And speaking of which, I mean, more to just like light the fire, but like, don't mean to. It's a bad week for Batgirl fans. Okay, it's a bad week for DC fans. We're in mourning. All right. I think that's why everybody's angry at The Rock. Really, is they just don't have anybody else to take their anger out on. You know, because most of these HBO execs just don't go on Instagram or don't like have public ones, so they don't have to take any flack or fire unless they're like James Gunn. But he's bulletproof because he's badass. But it's a crying shame. Batgirl, among a slew of other HBOMax titles, DC Comics universe stuff, even some kids programming. There was like the next season of Ellen's cartoon kids show is cut. It turns out that a lot of these are part of their Discovery Plus merger deal. We're going to see some titles being swapped around. We're going to see some titles that will never see the light of day. Hence, Batgirl, the fandom is pissed. So, like, I mean, this was a big thing for Batgirl. We were going to see that badass New 52 outfit, which I was excited for because it was sleek. It looked sleek. Them photos were good. She was going to be kicking ass. She was going to be the bestest Barbara Gordon ever. I know I'm putting that up there, but, like, we're never going to be able to see this. This is like when the time that Martin Scorsese bought that Wu-Tang album, but worse, okay? Because nobody gets to own it. Just some heartless guy at the IRS has to make sure it never sees the light of day so they collect their taxes on it. And that's why all these things are being canceled. So you're going to see a huge cancellation list. I'll be bitching about it over the weeks. I'm sorry. Man, you know, I like to escape into certain things in this world. And I like me some gritty DC Comics. And, you know, like, yes, I know we're hitting the superhero bubble again. But we say this like every 5-10 years. And then still we have heroes. I really think that, like, unless we can create new hero systems, like, people are in the age of wanting hope, wishing for more, you know, aching for a miracle. So, like, that's what creators are giving because that's what people, you as the hive mind, want. You want hope. We want hope. I want hope. That's why we still go back for superhero films. All right, and this would have been a really good one. Also, a boy, Michael Keaton, would have been coming back as Batman. Now we're never going to see that. That's like a million wet dreams ago. Like, that would have been fulfilled. Like, I mean, both 6 and 9-year-old me and 10-year-old me would have just been like, all those Batmans all back, because you know they would have figured that one out. I mean, if Spideyverse happened, that's how they got to make up for it. If Batgirl gets canceled, how do we bring back Michael Keaton? We're going to have to do a DC Batman multiverse, like, you know, it's Tales of the Bat type of thing. You guys got to fix this somehow. You gotta fix this, okay? But one thing you guys are achieving in, which please don't cancel this, Sandman. Guys, check out Sandman. It's on the Netflix, and I'm not into much Netflix these days. It's hard to get me to other words Netflix most times because I'm not into most of, like, I don't watch Stranger Things. It's just not my jam. Like, I kind of got over the 80s, like, grunge look on content, like, after Turbo Kid. So I just, for the fact that they were just going to pummel season after season that for Stranger Things, it wasn't. I'm not that toys that made us type of kid, you know? I think that's the transition, though. There's this little gap between older and younger millennials because there's these millennials that wish they were zennials or younger, but really they're just young millennials. And so they're that, like, toys that made us Netflix kind of, like, watch the product all day type of. I don't know. Every once in a while there's a really good documentary on there. That DB Cooper one was pretty good. But Sandman, let's get to the point. Sandman, you know, I'd say I actually attempted to watch it in 2 sittings, so 10 episodes. Had a lot. Wow. I don't want to give too many spoilers because I'm sure everybody else is soaking it in. This was like one of the bigger announcements for me at Comic-Con that I just couldn't make the time to go to Hall H for. So I was just really excited that, like, they've really given Lord Morpheus his due in this. I think that it's like, it's Doctor Who plus. It really is. Like, I can't wait to see more out of it. Like, Warner Brothers, you better not cancel Sandman. Damn it, Netflix. Don't you dare. Don't you dare cancel Sandman, or I will lose hope, and then we'll just have to go off and make our own stories about things like this. Just slightly not. So that we're not stealing an IP. But, like, the special effects were on point for most of it. The way that, like, the episodes kind of, like, would take a break from certain realities, or you kind of had to, like, know pieces of his psyche in order to get to the next part of the story. It really felt like the comic books in that essence, because that way you could have this whole just interlude in the story. Like, it was framed better than Watchmen. Like, I got to say that. Like, they did it right finally. Like, if this team, take them, go, like, redux the Watchmen movie. Like, let the HBO guys, please tell me that one's not canceled. I want that to come back. Like, the Hugh Laurie in space thing with Josh Gad, yeah, but, man, just all these HBO titles leaving. This is the most consumerist thing about me, guys. Like, I don't really get upset, but, like, I'll get upset about movies because it's that part where, like, consumerism and art collide for me. So I can't say no because we live in a capitalist society. I'm an artist. But, man, Sandman, though, it brings you up. Favorite episode, though, out of all of it is when he finally catches up with his sister, Death. And then you also get to see his meeting with a man once every 100 years to understand mankind. That's probably, like, for me, that's, like, the coolest, like, time travel as a romance story inside the whole season. Can't wait to see more from the devil. Oh, my God. That Battle of the Mind thing with Morningstar herself, themself. Man, I don't know the right pronouns for the devil. Everything has changed in my mind after this representation of it, which really good. All accounts, okay? And for the anti-woke sphere out there that's getting up against it, like Sandman is always, like, it's written by Neil Gaiman, guys. Like, it was going to be wokety woke from the beginning. It was. Like, if you didn't read that, you're like the same guys who, like, read Punisher and are totally into nationalism, and you think that, like, the two converge because, like, you don't understand anything that Frank Castle was fighting. You only watched, like, a few episodes of Netflix and didn't get the point. Yeah. But Sandman, worth every penny of your time. Check it out. More coming in the weeks. Trying to tighten up the episodes before we get some new guests on, and hoping to hear more from politicians as we get closer to the primaries and beyond. Mahalo for joining me this week. Aloha.
Rabbit Holes is a Manavacal production. This episode was produced by Kawika Hoke and Sarah Rodriguez. Make sure to subscribe and follow on your favorite podcast platforms to add our weekly episodes to your queue.